Hey, I want to talk about church today before I forget, because if too much time passes, then I'll forget. But it's nothing super remarkable, but I just like to kind of compare the churches. So I watched the bigger church online at 9, and the pastor did a great job. I thought he did a super good job. During that time, I was getting ready to attend a different church at 10, so I was slightly distracted. And then I was in the car driving for part of it too. And I also had to buy some beef sticks while listening to it, because I needed to bring some beef sticks to the 10 o'clock church, and I needed to buy more. I hadn't bought enough, so I stopped at Walgreens to get more, and I didn't want to stop listening to church, so I'm listening on the phone to church in Walgreens. People can hear, but I'm like, I didn't want to stop it because it's live and I'll miss it, So anyway, and but then I was sorry to not be there. Like I frequently wonder why churches don't do the thing where the elders are in the front and they've got the oil and they're going to pray for people. They always have their prayer team up in front, which that's fine, to have these like random volunteers and stuff. But I've always wondered why churches don't routinely have elders in the front praying for you with the oil, because that's how the Bible says to do it. So I'm like, why don't they do that? Like, it's kind of annoying to me. Like, I'm always like, why don't the churches do that? I've always I wondered about it. And I know my church has done it at least once, and I wasn't there that day either. And then today they did it again, and I wasn't there this day. And I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm missing out. I really wanted to be there, and it was such a good one. I was like crying in the car, and I was like, this is such a good message today. He's doing such a good job, and I'm missing out because they're doing the oil thing for I think this is only the second time I've seen them do it that way. But I'm glad they did it again. Like, I'm glad they're making it a thing. Like, maybe next time they do it, I'll actually be there in person, right? To experience that. But I will for sure go up to the front if they've got oil up there. But normally I'm like, I'm not going up to the front for the prayer team. Like, it's not a draw for me. But if they had oil, I'll be up there in a heartbeat. So I was sad to miss that. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, well, I can go back because they'll have church again at 11. And I can go back and I can make it there, from like 11:45 to 12. And I can be there for the second time they do this today. So that's kind of in the back of my mind. Like, I could actually go back if I want to. Anyway, and so then I went to 10 o'clock church. And this one I specifically went alone. Like, my daughter is with me this weekend, and I was just feeling like I needed to go to church alone. I didn't go yesterday, and I was like, I just need a day where I am at church for me, because it's a whole different thing. How I do church for me is so different, and what I get out of it and how it is for me. The worship experience is so different than when I bring somebody. When I bring somebody, it's almost like a sacrificial, I'm hosting them, and I'm wanting to make sure that they're comfortable and that they're doing okay. And especially if it's somebody who doesn't want to be there, or if there's any sort of warfare going on with them, it just makes going to church with them slightly less it's kind of unpleasant. It's not always easy to bring somebody. There is a sacrificial piece to bringing somebody, even if it's just family sometimes. And I had never gone to this specific church alone. Every single time I think that I've been there, I've gone with my daughter. And So I was having a hard time like assessing the church because I had never experienced it alone. And then today I just really wanted to go alone, and I was a little unsure, like, is this bad? Like, is this going to be one that she missed out on? Should she have been there? Should I have brought her? Like, was this the wrong decision, you know? Or is it fine that I went alone? And then somebody had contacted me asking if I was going to church, like when I was still at home, and I said yes. And then I kind of paused for a minute, like, oh, should I invite them? Like, I usually will I'll invite anyone. So I'm like, should I invite them? And I kind of struggled with it a little bit. Like, I really want to go alone. And then I was like, well, it's not all about me. Should I invite them? You know, and then I did invite them. I'm like, you know, do you want to come with? I said I was going to a different one today. I'm like, do you want to come with? And then they had said no. And I'm like, that's fine, because I really want to go alone. I didn't tell them that, but I was just like, okay, good, because I really do want to go alone today. But I would have been happy if they came too. So it's like, but still, I was like, then I got to go alone, and it was nice, because I had been wondering about this church. Like, I hadn't experienced anything very like extraordinary where it was like I knew that it was a church that we should keep coming to. And I wasn't sure. I was just still in this assessing place for a while. And then anyway, so then today I went by myself. I brought them the beef sticks, and because they're doing these bags to give away for like people on the street or whoever. And it was such a good church service today. And partially, again, I think because I was alone and I needed that so badly. But it was also like the church was on fire. Like, they did an awesome job. Like, the Holy Spirit was like present, you know. It was a good church service, right? Worship went long, church went long, the pastor was on fire. Like, everybody was like killing it today. Like, it went well. And so then but I needed that. I was like, okay, this is good, because it was very healing. Like, I needed that today. And also I needed it from that church, because I hadn't experienced anything significant enough for me to be sure, like, should we keep going here? What's the deal with this church? So that was a super good day for that church. And then, but I found myself so drawn to like the youth. I kept looking over at the youth. I guess they bring them up like the first Sunday of the month or something for communion with the rest of the congregation. And I was just looking at the crew of kids, and I was like feeling like my daughter needs to be there with those kids. She needs to stop coming to church and sitting by my side, and she needs to go hang out with those youth. It's kind of what I was feeling. And I just kept staring at these kids. Like, I couldn't stop staring at these kids. And then there was this one girl, and she just seemed so sad, though. And I was like, that girl is so sad. Why is she so sad? Just seemed so lonely or something. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I was wishing too that my daughter was there for her. You know, my daughter would be so good for her. So I just, and then I ended up like right behind that girl in communion. Like, I let her go ahead of me. But I don't know why she was so sad. But that's just how she seemed to me. She seemed just to be so unhappy, so sad. But anyway, and then the church was good. And then I was going to, in my own mind, I was like, well, then I was going to hit them all up. I was like, I'm going to stop by at the other church, the third church, and they have this book on Mark. And I'm like, I need that book on Mark. I haven't been to this church since Christmas. It's been like, now it's March, you know, it's been a while. But I'm like, I need to pop in there and get that book on Mark. And that church goes from 10:30 to 11:30. So I thought, well, if this church goes from 10 to 11, then I have from 11 to 11:30 to pop over there and get that Book of Mark and get out again. Like, I don't need to attend another church today, but I can grab that book and go. And then I was going to pop over to the other church to get there for the oil. Now, that did not work out. So I did not get to get the Book of Mark, and I did not get to get the oil on me at the original church, because since the 10 o'clock church had went so long, so then it was just like the time kind of ran out. But that's fine. I can get the Mark book later, and I'm sure eventually one of these churches will do the oil up front with the elders again. So hopefully I will get to do that someday. But anyway, so let me see what else I had written down for my notes. That was it. That was all I was going to say. My daughter is coming to say goodnight to me, though, and we're all going to bed early tonight. Tomorrow I get to go to the jail for work. The AC, the adult correctional facility. Because for my work, I volunteer for this thing where we get to meet with the residents and talk to them. And I won't go into it because I try not to talk about work on my videos, but I'm so excited. I love going out to the jail. I love going and meeting with the residents, and it's been for such a long time because of COVID. We haven't been able to go out there in person, and so it's been like 3 years. It's been so long since I've been there, and so tomorrow's our like kind of retraining for being able to do the presentations and to meet with they don't call them inmates, they call them residents, but because it's more respectful. But so I'm pumped. I cannot wait to get back into that building. I always thought maybe I should work over there and just make a career change and like transfer over to that area, because I just love being in that building and I love working with the residents. And so I'm really excited for tomorrow, but I have to wake up so early in the morning because normally I can, roll out of bed and start working at home at 8. Now I have to actually be dressed out of the house. I think I have to start work at 6:30, leave the house at 7, get there at 8. Like, I'm not used to driving anywhere and like being like showered and dressed. Like, that's like, it's been so long since COVID that I've done that. But anyways, so I hope you have an awesome day. Talk to you later. Bye.